I'm Bekah.
I'm Morgan.
And we live in a school bus.
We make up the BAM bus. Our A is not here, Abi.
Yeah.
We still love her.
She's still alive.
She's just in a different state. We're home for the holidays.
Yeah, so she was just with her family for Christmas. And we are going to be showing and sharing some stuff about our life on the road and the vehicle that we live in.
Welcome to the front of our bus. We didn't change a lot up here.
So you guys are getting like an actual view of what it normally looks like.
Especially when you're driving. This is what you get to look at. It gets really dusty and musty up here.
Mm-hmm.
These are Home Depot grass samples.
With little creatures and babies in some of them. Yeah, we had wanted to have an entire forest actually up here, but it makes it a little hard to see and navigate, so we decided to just go with the grass samples.
We had an initial idea of taking turf and putting it on the ceiling because we thought that'd be super funny, but we realized after a while that I don't know how to secure turf onto the ceiling and fight gravity, and, you know, not cause an accident eventually with the turf just falling on the driver.
Yeah, which could be quite terrible.
Currently, you are sitting on our turf.
Yeah. So now we just have a little lawn that we can take with us anywhere.
A little lawn.
Normally there isn't a fruit basket hanging up here just for us being stationary as we are. This is where it found its place.
Yes.
This
This is our phone holder. This thing is a lifesaver. We actually have a little Reflectix tent that we built for it that's not here right now because our phones they overheat being up in the front during the summer and anytime it's warm with the sun just shining through, and then the heat radiates from the engine.
This is when I'm jealous of people who have, engines in the back of their bus, is because the heat is horrible, it's terrible, and we don't have air conditioning. So we have some fans which are helpful, but when you're driving, your feet tend to get a little hot. So we made our own swamp cooler. So we have this spray bottle that's normally full of water and a tiny fan.
This fan that plugs in. And then the two other fans that were already here.
Yep, so you can spray your feet and they'll cool down with the air, which is, it's also disgusting, but it works, and I'm glad it works, because there were some times I don't think we would have survived without it. We also had a fumble while building out the bus. The first night that we were supposed to leave, we actually ended up driving out of my driveway. We had just said all of our goodbyes. I'd just given my mom the last hug, and we were on our way, and my dad calls me approximately 10 seconds after we leave the driveway, telling us that our driving lights were out. So we actually had to go get the bus diagnosed, I guess.
Yeah.
But the people who were helping us, they couldn't figure out what was wrong. So my dad ended up rewiring our driving lights, and we had to go get replacements. So we have a little wire that's kind of janky. It's very janky. That runs from the front to the back. That runs our lights. So we have two toggles for when we head out on our adventures.
Throughout the process, there were a lot more hiccups than I thought we would have, for sure. And that was definitely one of the more painful ones because we were literally leaving.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, haha, running lights. They don't work anymore.
I was like, that's important.
Very important. This is our block that we have to put by the door to make sure that no one, comes and murders us in the middle of the night.
It is important and very
So
fun.
it just hangs out in this crevice, along with our bag of contents.
Mostly coins.
Yeah.
For laundromats and such.
Yeah, stuff like that. We had our national parks pass thing up here at one point. There is a lighter, which I'm gonna move because it feels like that could be a hazard. I don't know why that's there. We have a GoPro mount. We have Bob Ross hanging out up here.
All the essentials.
Security cameras.
This is really cool. I will say this. I wish normal cars had these visors. It's basically just sunglasses, but for your entire face.
Yes.
And that thing's pretty great.
This is our cleaning storage. I've seen some people use this as a closet, actually, which is really awesome.
But the three of us need more space than that.
So this is our cleaning supplies. We've got some rope, you know.
Mm-hmm. We also have emergency lights, so if we ever needed, actually we've used them once, when we've needed to tell people that we're in trouble, we put them out and they just flash and then nobody hits us, because we are a very large object. This is our front door. One of the things we had to make a decision on before we left was if we keep the original door or if we replace it. Most people tend to replace it, but we were broke, and also we liked the locking mechanism that came with the bus. So we decided to keep it, and actually it's really fun. We love that all of our visitors want to try and open the door. They've never been able to open and close a school door before. So it's one of my favorite additions, I guess, to the bus. Oh yes, and we have a list of some of the people that we've met on the road. This actually got filled up probably within a month and a half of us being on the road, which is so fun. We loved being able to just have a little piece of every person that we had met, and now we have other ways of keeping those people as part of our journey and experience on the road. But this is one of my favorite. It's like a little guest book for the bus. This is our pantry. We used to actually use this as a closet. This bookshelf was in the back, and we decided to bring it up here to have more of a stationary setting for all of our food. So this is where the majority of our stuff is, as well as any containers that we have, so Pyrex and stuff like that. Up here is normally where we keep all of our spices, all the mixes, and we have cans of soup as well back here. This thing has been incredibly helpful and useful. However, sometimes things fly off the shelf. And we have this one bottle of onion powder and oregano that just fly off the shelves no matter how securely they are tied. So this is our pantry. It's just, there's food everywhere, I guess. Morgan also has a really funny story to share with you all about
the pantry.
Pantry number one.
So initially our pantry was, they were like those 3-tiered carts you get from IKEA, but not a cart. And we had them bungee corded together. They fit perfectly right here in this crevice. And every time we'd have to aggressively stop, it would kind of, you know, it'd lurch forward a little bit into the doorway. So one day I am helping navigate as Abby drives, and I am standing holding the handle by the driver's door. And there was someone that pulled out right in front of us, and, you know, we're in motion, so everything in the bus just keeps going in motion, even, you know, when we stopped. And I hit the windshield with my face, along with Bekah running into me, the entire pantry just lurching forward and coming disconnected, and I just fall into the wheel well, and all of a sudden I was like, it feels like one of those 5-gallon water jugs hit me. It did. It rolled from the back up to the front. So everything hit me. I was okay, but it hurt. And that was a moment where we realized it might be good to change out our pantry. So we did. And this pantry actually is pretty cool. It was in the garage of my parents' house. My grandma bought it years ago working at Target. So there was a lot of stuff like that in the bus that we were able to just reuse, or, you know, people it wasn't of use to them anymore, so we made use of it. Actually, along with these shelves as well, these pieces of wood had been in the garage at my parents' house for I think like 20 years. My dad had saved them hoping that one day someone could use them, so we have 2 of them in here. There's another one still that we've talked about using at some point. So we got this on the second leg of our journey. We took a break about 2.5 months in to redo some stuff and just have a little breather. And this thing was really nice addition for our travels. It's a little storage unit for many trinkets. So this is like our, oh, this is very disorganized. We have like envelopes for sending out our stickers, and we've got all of our cables for every gadget that we have. And all of our extra shades for covering our windows. And it's been great. It is bolted in. We accidentally bolted it too close to the driver's seat, so you can't move this backwards anymore. That was an error. And then we have the couch, lovely Pamela, as we call her. And while she was a pain to build, she has served us well. When we left initially, she wasn't bolted in at all, so we have some really weird memories of taking curves a little too fast and then the couch just sliding along with someone on it, Abby to be specific. And underneath it, we have some storage that we wanted to leave a little space open for the couch where we could put like our laptops or whatever would fit, because it's not a lot of room, but you know, every little crevice of the bus matters in the end because it's such a small space for especially 3 people. And this couch we also built with having guests in mind, if anyone wanted to come visit us. So this opens up actually into a bed, and we have it long enough that it should be able to accommodate most people, tall or short.
We know that this is too small. This will be changing in the next renovation of the bus, but we know that this is too small. We are aware. Another part of our pantry is our water bottles. These things used to fly everywhere in the bus, and it kind of sounded like somebody playing bells really horribly. So now we have a little spot for them, which is quite nice and convenient. Also, underneath our counter, which is actually made of flooring, we are some handy dandy people. We have our silverware, some other storage for saran wrap and cleaning supplies, but our pride and joy, and also the bane of our existence, is our cooler. This thing has a lot of stickers of places we've visited and friends we've made along the way, which is really fun and awesome. It's 115 quarts, big enough to fit Morgan, and this thing is what really kept us alive on the road.
Welcome to our under the counter situation. Remember the pantry earlier I was talking about? This was one of the old things that hit me and almost killed me.
This thing wiggles and makes a lot of noise all of the time, but it works here.
It serves
way
its
better
purpose
than it did over there.
So this right here is my old bedside table, and it is our one like drawer situation that we have inside of the bus, and it holds right now some pots and pans and bowls. And then this is mostly just like our cooking land. So we have our mugs. We have a lot of mugs.
No cups.
Yeah, there's someone gifted us
cups.
1 cup, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And what have we got in here? We have whisks and all of the
cooking utensils.
This is our butane stove, and we cook everything with this. It's pretty gross looking right now. It needs to be deep cleaned. But this, I don't know where we'd be without it, to be honest.
We'd be starving.
We would be starving, yeah. So we store that under here. It surprisingly doesn't wiggle around a whole lot. It's nestled in perfectly on top of our good old bedside table situation that's happening. And then we have the sink.
This is our sink. It is it's a brand new IKEA bowl that we punched a hole in and added some plumbing to. It basically attaches to this is our gray water tank, which normally sits on a little stand, so he's attached right about here. We decided not to do any hard plumbing for the fact that, one, we didn't have the budget for it, and also we weren't sure how to do it. So this works for us. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but it works. This is what the sink looks like from the top. It's kind of gross at the moment, but that's okay. And this is our $12 pump from Amazon that we found. And he's rechargeable, so we just turn him on and he normally pumps water, which is great. This is our camping chair. It's Abby's. It's probably the most coveted seating spot on the entire bus. And right next to it we have our little bookshelf. And we used to have a bunch of books lined up this way, but they tended to fly off the shelf. Under here we also have a bunch of storage for GoPros and any other things. We used to have a can of coins for any laundromat visits that we made. So that is that. We also have a little mirror. We used to have a smaller one, but it broke on the drive. So I'm pretty sure we have bad luck, but so far haven't run into that. Up here we just have some of our room sprays and any mail that we receive on the road, as well as our back door lock. And this little tiny vase that gets refilled every once in a while with local flowers and such. and our speaker system, which is currently just one speaker. The entire bus is magnetic, which comes in handy when we're trying to hang things up, as well as putting up our shades. So this is how we normally put up each of our curtains, and it's worked well for us so far. This window is broken, so we can't open it. We also over here have our 100-watt solar panel from Jackery. It is currently the only source of power that we have on the bus. Is we have two 500-watt Jackery battery boxes, which have worked well for us so far, which is wonderful. These are our bunk beds. We actually just have these two that are technically bunked, and a loft back here. These things haven't moved on the drive, which is really nice, because if they moved while driving, that'd be terrifying. And they're wonderful. It's probably the only place in the bus where we actually have some sort of separation between the three of us, which is really, really nice to have sometimes. This is our under storage. Down here we have some of the water jugs that we take around. We decided to store some of our water in glass just because it's a little better for you than storing in plastic. We also have these, we have two of them. They are filing cabinets that we use as additional storage. They fit better than any other shelving units we could find, and also they lock, which is very convenient.
This is our closet situation. We had to cut down a lot on our clothing items and personal items living in, you know, a school bus, like a tiny metal tube. So this is a tapestry that we got like off of Amazon or something like that, maybe Etsy. And this is what we've got here. Everyone gets a quarter of the closet. And we added these recently. They're little bins for hats or shirts or whatever else we wanted to store in here, because we had a kind of awkward amount of space once we finished above the wheel well and this beam of the closet. We also reused, they're like the shoe holders that people put in their closets, so we have those in the entire back side of the closet up against the windows and on the sides for swimsuits, underwear, whatever small things are able to fit in there. And Abby was given this shelving unit from her grandparents. It's a little messy right now, but we each get a shelf to either put a bin in or roll things up. And this has served us really well. It hasn't moved at all, which is incredible because everything has moved in here. Everything. And then up above, we also had another awkward amount of space, and we were trying to figure out what to do with it. So we actually took the leftover flooring that we had to make a little roof for our closet, essentially. And we roll our pants up, and we store them up here. And then Abby created this little, using the magnets again, kind of webbed situation to keep our pants where they belong. They don't always stay. This has loosened up over time as well, unfortunately, but it works for now, especially when all of our pants are up here together. They work as a unit, and they, you know, they hold each other in place, and it's great. This is our tiny bathroom, and it is so simple. When I say simple, like, I mean, we don't have anything. The door is a mirror that I used to have at my house. It's from Target, and we decided, hey, this would fit perfectly as a door. Then we have a mirror, so it swings out, and that's the broom. It does that every time. I'm gonna set that right there. So this is our tiny bathroom. This is where we keep our towels, and we have some toilet paper, and we have this tiny emergency toilet, and we only use it for emergencies. It is I'm pretty sure it's just like a drop shipping item, and we notice a lot of people do use it. This is it. You can add water, so it actually does flush. It's a pain to clean, so we try to use it only when it is absolutely necessary. Otherwise, we will walk 2 miles to find a bathroom. And then our sink, I mean, this is tiny. We don't have a sink in here. We also don't have a shower. So our sink is the one you saw earlier up at the front of the bus. Now, we used to have just the toilet in here, so we were able to close the door. We can't do that anymore. So if you have to use the bathroom, you know, the door stays open, and it's kind of awkward, but a lot of tears have been shed in a funny way over this tiny toilet specifically. We love it and hate it. We have our tiny little exit sign here and storage for lots of products. Also, this will fly open when we drive, so we created a little bungee cord kind of door handly secure situation. It works pretty good. This used to actually hold our water containers up the front of the bus, and then we realized it was kind of space inefficient, so we had a gap here, and we decided to, Bekah built a little box for this crate, and it holds our blankets and our sleeping bags when it gets really cold, and it's actually been a really nice addition to have a storage place for those types of things that we weren't really sure where to put besides our beds. But our beds are pretty small, and we can't use them as a storage unit for everything. And then back here, we actually used to have 3 bikes. And we thought that was a really good idea because we didn't have a car and it'd be a good way to get around. And it turns out it's hard to go biking when it's like 100 degrees the whole summer and it's smoky. So we used them once in the span of, I think, 2.5 months. So we don't have them anymore, but we still have the holders. But instead, we actually put a big chest back here with also a little area we can sit to read or do whatever we want to do. So this is where our other clothes go outside of the closet. It opens up like this, and usually we actually use the bike holders to hold it up. So we have some bins in here for our shirts and shorts and everything in between, and it's been really great actually. I really enjoy this addition to the bus. And having the extra space to sit down feels a little bit more private than being up front. Because if you look this direction, we actually have a little bit of wall with the bathroom. So it feels less invasive, I guess, because as much as fun as it is living in a bus with friends all the time, it doesn't matter what human being you're with. It's just the fact that you're with a human being all the time. Like, it can get hard and it can get draining, and you just want to physically be alone sometimes. It's nothing against anyone that you live with. It's just a matter of, you know, you want to take that space and that time to kind of rest and ease your mind, and this has actually been really great for that, oddly enough. So this is our macrame door hanging situation. This has actually never been back here before. We usually put it by the kitchen and the start of the bunk beds, just to kind of create a wall of somewhat privacy, but currently it made its way back here while we're living stationary. So that when we open it up, we have the back door, which we actually decided to keep and not block off, because we exit out of here all the time. In order to lock our front door. So we added an interior lock as well, as locking it from the outside. And this is, it's our main door. We use it 24/7, and it's great. I love it. This is the exterior of our bus. The bus actually came this minty green color, which was incredible. It was a fire crew bus initially, and we loved the color, but we made a few modifications. Abi actually did this topography situation that runs along this whole panel. And then we also did these little accent colors. This kind of looks like a hot dog. It's okay. We love it anyway. And it's still magnetized out here, so we're able to, you know, I didn't even know this was here till right now. It happens a lot. And we have our side compartments where we, you know, keep like more of our outdoor gear and paddle boards and such. And we have our roof deck. It's currently asleep. It's tented, you know, hibernating for the winter. But we built that at the very end with fencing material, actually, that Bekah sourced from Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace. And some extra brackets from my dad's blind installation business. So it was pretty cost effective, which was awesome, and it is honestly one of my favorite parts of the bus, just being able to sit up there, look at the stars, or watch the sunsets.
The process was, I think, very different than what I thought it was going to be, partially because we were relatively poor when building out the bus, which made a lot of difference for the things that we could afford to put in. But not to say that any of the stuff we have doesn't work. One of the first things that we ended up doing was ripping out all the seats and the flooring of the bus. And it was freezing cold. We had to have somebody inside the bus and somebody sitting under the bus to help remove the seats without tearing holes in the floor that was already here.
And mind you, during this whole process, it was freezing outside. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, it was freezing.
Like April.
Yeah.
And it's cold in April where we live.
We had one seat in particular that we called El Diablo that was above the wheel well, which is where our closet is now.
Yeah.
We could not get that seat out for the life of us.
That thing sat there for like 2 weeks.
It was awful.
We ended up having to just grind that
out. It got like literally ground out.
It was bad. I think that was one of the, I think because we were so new to the project, we were able to get it done really quickly, and also just brave the cold. Looking back, I would never do that again in the weather that we had. It was horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, just, it was not good.
But towards the end of the process was also really hard because it was summertime and it got really hot. And one of the last projects we saved was our roof deck. And we had to time that out really well of trying to build it when we weren't going to get scorched by the sun. And that was
a lot of building in the evenings and at night.
Yeah.
Actually.
Which really messed up our sleep schedules.
Yeah.
Which just led to more really weird evenings.
Yeah. After we had torn out all the seats and the flooring, we got to the build process, and actually one of the first big changes we made besides those was painting our ceiling. It was really exciting to do because it was like the first activity that we had done together, the three of us, and it also felt like it made a huge difference in the space. So I look fondly on that moment.
It definitely opened up the space for all of us quite a bit, just having it not be the same kind of minty green color the bus came. We decided to leave all of our interior, especially like the ceiling, as just the metal that it already is, instead of putting any like wood over it. It would be cool to do that one day, but we were balling on a big budget as we built out the bus, so it wasn't much of an option. But it has been really really cool along the road to be able to just use magnets for everything.
Yes.
On the ceiling, on the walls, like all over the place, and that is how we hold most of our stuff together in here, to be completely honest.
Bungee cords and magnets, for sure. Another project that was pretty quick to happen in the build was we bought our refrigerator. Quotes on that because it's just a very large cooler. And then quickly after that we purchased that, we built this couch, which is fondly named Pamela. I say that sarcastically because
so Abby and I built this couch. Well, mostly Abby. I helped her with like the framing of it, but the day that we built it, we had done this Pamela Reif workout on YouTube, an ab workout, and that was such a mistake because we're trying to build this and every movement just hurt our abs so much. So we named the couch Pamela because we were really upset about our decision and the couch because it was a pain to figure out. I know, at least for me, my brain is not built to be able to envision things like that in these types of projects, so it was a lot of staring at photos and just really trial and error in the end.
And a lot of caffeine.
So much caffeine. Yeah.
After the couch was built, I think what we built next was the closet. I think
so, yeah.
Yeah, because it was the closet, and actually when we went to go get the bus registered, none of our things that are now attached to the walls and our stationary items, nothing was. So we were driving down the freeway with boxes and
all we really had done was
sliding.
The flooring, the framing, the closet was down on the ground, and I think that was about it.
Yeah.
Because the last, I think, 2.5 weeks or so is when like everything was finalized together. That we put in our shelves and the bunk beds. Like the bunk beds came actually the day that we registered the bus. We had a title issue getting the title for this vehicle, so that was a mad rush at the end because we actually got the title and then we had to go get it registered. And we had fingers crossed that we actually could get that process done well because a lot of people have hiccups with it.
Especially being young, because none of us are over the age of 25, so that was a huge worry when going in because first off, there's a lack of respect, I think, when you're young a lot of the times, but thankfully we had a wonderful lady at the DMV to help us, and
we had to change insurance once because I guess with the state of Idaho it is even more tricky being under the age of 25, and none of us have CDLs for this, which we didn't need, but that made it a little worse for getting insurance, and it all worked out in the end. It just took a while, and a lot of hours of standing in the DMV initially, as the lady who was trying to work through the process was so kind, but she'd never done it before.
Yeah.
And we had to make sure we met all of the qualifications to be a motorhome / truck, to be on the title in the end.
A lot of odd hurdles
to
jump over and navigate, especially like none of us had ever gone through this process before, so it was all very new. So the three of us, Bekah, Abi, who's not here, and Morgan, we had each had the dream of living on the road in some capacity, either in a van, or in a car or in a bus, pretty independently for a lot of our lives. And then we ended up meeting under some interesting and strange circumstance. If you want to explain what that was.
Yeah, so December of 2020, a year ago now for us, we all met, as Bekah said, under super strange circumstances. We found out we all had a relationship with the same guy at the same time. And instead of fighting each other, we actually all bonded, and one of the first things that we bonded over was our love for travel and wanting to see the world, and travel the states as well. And we pretty quickly started talking about van life, living in a bus, renovating an RV, something of that sort, and found out I have a family friend that was selling school buses, so we snagged one and started building it pretty soon after meeting each other.
Yeah, it was insane. I think 4 months after we initially met each other, to when we had the bus in my backyard. So it was a pretty quick turnaround.
And it took us 2.5 months to build the entire bus out. It's very simple. It's functional for us for now.
Yeah.
We have things that we'd love to renovate as we go on, and we did stop halfway through the summer to
make
change
some
things
changes.
out. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty needed changes as well.
And it's nice because it's a simple build that if we ever want to do major changes, it wouldn't be too hard to disassemble things we have built in here.
Basically just gut the whole thing again if we needed to. But I mean, for a budget build, this thing has worked fairly well, and it's been really fun to live in, so we love it.
We started learning a lot of stuff on YouTube and Pinterest, and you were on Reddit threads.
Yeah.
Reading about how to take on a project of this capacity and do it well-ish.
Question mark? Yeah.
We tried our best.
Yeah. And the build-out process was really hard in a lot of ways. There was a huge learning curve of building something that's supposed to be stationary, like a home, and making those plans for something that isn't stationary, like our school bus. But overall, I'd say we did, I mean, there's a lot of hiccups everywhere in the build, but I'm really proud of the work that we've done. And also we did, I'd say 96% of the work ourselves. We had a few times where we had family or friends who would help us out, but the majority of the work was stuff that we did. So I think that's really cool.
I'm proud of us.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching our home tour. We're so grateful that you did. One of the other things we'd like to talk about is the fact that this lifestyle is possible, even when it seems impossible. We came from a very odd situation of meeting each other, but we were able to make this happen on a very tight budget, and it's honestly been one of the best decisions of our lives.
While you have to make a lot of sacrifices if you're going with a very simple concept for your travel vehicle, it is possible. It's a little harder, but it has been so fun even with the sacrifices that we had to make, like not having a shower or a running sink essentially. But it has been a beautiful experience of growth and opportunity, and I would not change the world for this. It has been so incredible.
The community is so amazing, and we're so grateful that you're thinking about joining it. So, thank you.
Thank you.
It's so hot. What? Did it inhale my hair? No. Oh my god. I did not inhale your hair. I thought the fan